Today we're in Hendersonville to visit a beautiful, stunning rose garden with over 150 roses, and I guarantee you, you're in for a treat. Ron, this is a stunning wall display here. Could you tell me a little about the tree roses and this beautiful shrub rose you have here in front? That's lovely.
Yes, iceberg is a very popular rose. They grow a lot of them in California, and this particular iceberg is what they call a standard, or a tree rose, is a common name for it. And it's kind of unusual because it's got burgundy, pink, and white on the same bush. And it's pretty hardy. I leave it out here in the winter and it don't freeze, but it does real well. And like I said, it's real popular rose in landscaping because it does come in a bush form.
Well, is it, do you have to protect it in any special way? Because I know tree roses can be a little daunting for us here.
No, not this particular one. I've had that out 3 or 4 winters and never had any trouble with it. Then the shrub rose here is a shrub rose that I recommend to people, and I've no telling how many I'll give away to new members at the Nashville Rose Society. It's called Quietness. And I think they just described it wrong because it's more of a, to me it looks more of a floribunda or a hybrid tea. And it does grow in clusters, but it's in constant bloom. I do not spray this rose. It's very hardy. And everybody that comes in here has got to have one.
Wow. And you don't spray it?
No.
Wow, that's shocking. Wow.
And so it has a lot of good qualities. This is his first bloom cycle. I'll get 3 bloom cycles off that shrub rose in a season.
That's amazing. I would definitely like a start of it.
Yeah, I will get you one.
Fantastic. Ron, can you tell me a little bit about why the soil here is so mounded? I mean, it's really a high mound here, about, what, a couple of feet at least? Yeah,
at least that. Yes, I'm 6'3", and so at this point in time in my life, I love raised beds anyway, because roses grow good in raised beds. And plus, I have amended soil here. I use a product called Holy Cow Soils, which is they custom blend. So when I designed this, I wanted to make sure I had a raised bed, and then I've got drainage underneath it. Then also I've got an irrigation system in there. It's real easy to run irrigation in a raised bed. And it showcases your roses.
What's your favorite one right in here? And I hate to ask that,
but you know how it is. Your favorite, what's blooming today? But this floribunda here, Moon Dance,
the white one,
the white one there, it really does good and very popular. And whites and yellows are kind of hard to grow anyway. But that one does real well. And I've had it in here 8 years, so it really does good.
But they look fabulous at night when you're sitting out here with your cup of coffee or your glass of wine. So it's gorgeous.
The light, definitely. It does that. It does at twilight too, and then early in the morning. I come out here a lot of times early in the morning and enjoy the roses.
This is a stunning rose that you have trained up the wall, a climber. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yes. This rose is called America. It's my wife's favorite, and anytime, her being a non-gardener, I always like to put something she likes out here. So she loves this. It'll bloom 3 times. After it blooms the first time, I'll deadhead it off. But it's just a beauty. Actually, they're good to cut and bring in. But really, you know, they're climbers, but they're actually trainers. That they're on a trellis, and I tie them off. And when you think of roses, climbing roses, you always want to think about a fan, it growing in a fan and growing. If you grow them straight up completely, they don't bloom as well.
Oh, yeah, they get more sunlight that way.
They do, they do, and they produce more. But my wife loves that rose, and she, that color, and when I pick out geraniums and other plants, they have to be that color.
It is beautiful. It is beautiful. We're in a beautiful section of Ron's rose garden, and it's dedicated to miniatures, and it has a beautiful sign here called the John Curtis Miniature Garden. Could you explain to me who John Curtis is? And then I'd love to know about this beautiful red rose.
Okay, cool. John Curtis was my mentor 28 years ago. I ran into him, and I was already growing stuff, not a lot of roses, and I kind of followed him around like a puppy dog for 3 years, and my wife thought I was going to move him in the house as a dependent. But it was just a great teacher, a great consulting rosarian, and he turned me on to not only growing and caring for roses, but how to minister with them. So over the years, this particular rose called Daddy Frank, which was the name of my daddy-in-law, who I worked for 9 years in the construction business, I had a friend, Robbie Tucker, who used to be one of our presidents of the American Rose Society back in the 90s, and he lived in Thompson Station. And he hybridized roses and was very successful at it. But the Daddy Frank, he called me one day, he said, I'm going to send you this plant. And I think you have a relative was that name. And I said, cool. So we compared the bios of his uncle in Texas, and they were identical. And I said, I got to have that rose. But that was one of his original plants, his mother plants that he sent to me. So I love that rose. It's a great show rose. It's one of the top show roses in the country. And a beautiful, beautiful red. In miniatures, it can be a big bush, but a small rose.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful tribute to your family and to your mentor, and I think that's wonderful personal connection in your garden.
Definitely. And a lot of these roses, John Curtis recommended.
That's amazing. And you weren't into roses before then?
No, I grew vegetables and other flowers.
I can't imagine that.
But it's an addiction. Once you get to grow them, you got to have more of them.
You're not wrong, Ron.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about this bed, and specifically this gorgeous red rose that we have right here. Can you tell me about these roses and what they represent?
Yes. This is a new shrub rose that come out. Actually, the rose was tested at the Biltmore Trials in Asheville, North Carolina. I had a little bit to do with it, and it come out several years ago. I think this was 2016 or 17. So they come out with the red version of it. And then in 2000, the years to follow, they come out with a pink one. And now they have a core one that I'm testing too also. The pink one's on the far end over there, and the core's in the middle. It ain't quite bloomed yet. So I'm testing that this year, see how it does. It should do excellent. And but I kind of like them. People are really in the knockouts. This is even better than that.
Yeah,
this
I agree. And I recognize that there's definitely some David Austin English roses in here.
Yeah.
That's something that I grow as well. What do you like about the Austin roses?
Well, the David Austin English rose is the hottest rose now in the wedding industry. I mean,
it?
It unbelievable.
Wow.
Of course, they were developed in England by David Austin, who's since passed away a couple years ago.
But
his sons are growing them. They are shrub roses. Some of them have over 100 petals on them, and they're a lot hardier than your hybrid teas.
And they're kind of very romantic looking. I can see why they are hot for weddings.
They are.
We have this beautiful arbor pergola here with this wonderful 2 climbers on it. I'd like to talk a little bit about those, and then I wanted to ask about this unusual rose here. So what are these?
This is called Don Juan. The red is a very hardy red rose. I've been growing it probably 15, 16 years. I actually moved this rose from my old garden 8 years ago, transferred it. And then the white one is a kind of shrub / climber called Sally Holmes. It's real popular, real hardy, does real good here. And I enjoy it. And I like the contrast with the white and the red.
Yeah, that's
I
beautiful.
won't take credit for that. I'll give my wife credit for that. And but I enjoy growing both, and they're very hardy. And like I said, I'll get 3 bloom cycles.
Well,
off
it's
that
a beautiful way to sheath this nice, cool structure.
That's
here.
true.
And then you've got this raised bed with this rose in it.
Yes, this has always been a hard place for me to grow roses that need 4 to 6 hours of sun a day.
Yeah. And we're on the north here.
We are facing north. And this grow is called Playboy. It's been around a while. It's a floribunda, but it does real. I just planted that, by the way, because I had a hard time finding it. And I found 2 this year, and I was so tickled. But it kind of looks like, when they bloom, it kind of looks like autumn. You know, it's got the oranges and looks like a sunset, but it's a very hardy floribunda, and it grows good. It only gets a little morning sun, no afternoon sun, and look at it blooming.
No, it's beautiful.
And it does well. So.
And does it stay at that size, or does it get a little bigger?
No. By fall, it'll be another 12 inches tall.
Wow, nice. And I like how this raised bed you have these in kind of wraps around the structure and actually adds a little bit of shade in the structure
It
too.
does, and I've got a few hydrangeas slipped in there here and there that do pretty good.
Your companion planting here in this garden is really nice.
Yeah.
Like there seems to be kind of a certain type of plant you go with for planting under roses.
You do, depending on the sun and what you get. But I enjoy these, and I struggle with planting this on this north side, but they've done pretty well. You get enough morning sun, especially in the summer.
And with the climbers, it'll encourage them to grow higher because they're trying to get to the
If you look on top of this pergola, there's a lot more color going on up there because it's getting that south and west sun.
Oh, I bet this looks gorgeous from the sky, like when I.
Oh yeah, and from the house upstairs.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Beautiful. Yeah. So. Along this fence, I see you've been very creative because not only are these roses beautiful from both sides and passersby can see them, But what a gorgeous screen for your beautiful garden while everyone gets to enjoy it. Like, I think that's a fabulous way to do a garden with a fence that people can see through and get glimpses, but you still have some privacy.
Absolutely, and it's been not only a fence, but it's been a conversation piece too when people walk by.
Yeah.
And they want to know, what is that rose? What is this?
Yeah, well, and I want to know what this rose is, because that's gorgeous.
Well, this rose has quite a story. It's called Peggy Martin, and Peggy Martin is a real person, and she lived down in New Orleans, and when Katrina skirted the coast, she had a garden across from the beach, or close to it there in New Orleans, and
wow.
huge acre garden, and the salt water just destroyed it.
Oh,
and
bless.
So in about 3 or 4 weeks, Peggy Martin, she had one 4 times as big as mine,
wow.
growing on a barn, and it started growing back. It started
wow.
coming back.
Tough roses.
Yeah, tough roses. So it's a wild species rose. We don't know where it originated.
Wow.
It was passed down in Peggy Martin's family from, she's still alive, she's 87. And they passed it down and did cuttings on it. It does cuttings real well.
Yeah.
And I probably get more questions about this during the spring because people drive up and down the road here on the corner, and they'll stop and take pictures of this. It's neon pink.
So how did you get a cutting of it?
Oh, when they first come out with the cuttings, I found out about it. And I've got one of the first cuttings from Chamley's.
Oh, nice.
And they sent it to me. Actually, I moved this garden 8 years ago from my old garden. I moved this Peggy Martin from my
wow.
old garden. Then I did a cutting of it and planted another one down on the other end. So my whole goal here is to have pink, red, white, pink, white, red.
Yeah, and you've got the white ones coming up, iceberg, right?
Iceberg. They're brand new, and by the fall they'll be on top of that fence.
Wow.
Next spring they'll be everywhere.
Stunning, and they're going to get plenty of sun and fresh air here,
yeah.
so no problem with not getting enough airflow or any of that.
And you don't spray this rose.
Yeah.
And I do very little care on this Dublin Bay red one here. It's very hardy. It'll take 20, 30 below zero. They grow a lot up north.
So does this rebloom at all?
It does. If you
that's amazing.
Now it won't do it 100%, but it'll do 30, 40%.
That's amazing.
Like 2 more times.
For such an old rose, that's amazing. Incredible.
Yeah, it's a wild species rose, and they don't know the heritage of it.
Wow.
And but I love it, and people just comment on it all the time. They said, so I've given a lot of cuttings away.
Well, listen, you've given more than that. So this garden is stunning.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for allowing us to come visit it today and talk to you, because you are such a knowledgeable person, and I've learned so much in this little time we've had together. So thank you.
It's a labor of love for me, and it's it's like any garden. What does it do? It connects us with people.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ron.
You're welcome.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.